Hello and welcome to our webinar today on the new SEO plans. I'm Chad Hill and I have Adam Stetzer and our account management crew in Rochester with us.
Hey everybody, it's great to be with you. This is Adam Stetzer. I'm joined with our account management team here in Rochester. Say hello everybody.
Hello.
And good afternoon, and we are sorry about the tardy start.
Yeah, a few technical difficulties, but let's jump right into some great content that we've developed for today. Today we're going to be talking about our new SEO plans, and we've been alluding to these for several months, and we've actually been working on a lot of the features that are going to be fitting together into those plans over looking back over the past year or so. But I wanted to give a little bit of background before we jump into the plans in terms of how we did arrive at these programs. What I put in here that we maybe used several. I want to check so everyone can see slides. Adam, can you see the slides here?
Yeah, slides are good, and your audio broke up with that little pop-up at your back.
Okay, great. So we looked at a competitive review of all the other people in the market just to get a sense of where we were versus the people that were benchmarked against. We also have done a lot of internal testing. Try to get rid of this. A lot of internal testing around the last 6 months of looking at what's worked for different clients, where we achieved success, and where have we maybe wanted to get better success. We also, of course, have been very focused in looking at what kinds of updates are coming out of Google, especially the Penguin and Panda updates. We also, in addition to the in-client results, we've been looking at some lab tests internally in terms of sample websites that we've put up that are really where we try new techniques. And so we've looked at the results there. And then also we wanted to look at reseller feedback in terms of what things that you've been asking for, and when we've incorporated that into the new plans. Observations that we've had from an on-site standpoint, we've really looked at the updates, and there's been sort of poor compliance with getting fresh content on clients' websites. And we've also had a lot of times either difficulty or just people not making the on-site recommendations that we've suggested. And then really some of the focusing on what kind of return on investment that you can measure out of phone tracking and web-to-lead forms. Again, many people aren't using either our solution or any solution, and that's something we think we'd like to work on helping out with. From an off-site standpoint, or things that we're doing with content marketing and linking back, earning links back to your website, we've noticed that a lot of times we ask for instructions to help our writing team create the most compelling content possible. A lot of times we're not getting that information, and as a result, our team is sort of left a little bit out there to sort of figure out how to best incorporate your ideas or your clients' ideas into the content that we're creating on their behalf. There are way too many geo-targeted keywords. It's very difficult, again, for our writing team to take those geo-targeted keywords and turn them into useful and compelling information, and that's what this is really all about. We need useful and compelling information. And then we also have an issue where oftentimes there are overly competitive keywords for the budget that the client has, and so it's sometimes difficult to show the results that we'd like to see on their campaign. I did touch on Penguin because it's very recent. We had this, it dropped last Thursday, actually Wednesday, I'm sorry, and there's been there's been a lot of talk about what Penguin 2.0 or 4.0, as you want to look at it, what it means. But for those people who maybe were impacted by it, we haven't heard of many situations. But one thing to think about is this is something we've been talking about for really an entire year at this point. It's very important that you diversify your SEO. So you do want to think about looking at your keywords and making sure that you do eliminate geo-targeted keywords for the different content topics that we have. You want to think about diversifying your targets. So if your website's about 2 or 3 different topics and you have good pages on your website of both those topics, you don't want to overly focus any one set of content marketing topics on any given page. And so we have some tools we're going to talk about that we've already launched, but we want to make sure people realize that these are tools you want to use to get better results and also to be more compliant with some of the things that Google is signaling you shouldn't do from an SEO standpoint. Again, writer instructions are critical. We need facts, and the facts and co-citation help a lot with creating compelling, good information. And then the final one is that really going beyond just SEO, but thinking about diversifying your tactics to build brand awareness. So things like press releases and social media can reinforce branded mentions of your client's website, and that's something that can, again, help prevent issues with being impacted by some of the Google updates.
Chad, a few questions on the geo-targeted keywords that are coming in through the chat window. One is that our clients are getting great benefit from geo-targeted keywords. Can you address this? And secondly, why eliminate geo-targeted keywords? It's from another participant from Article Topics. I think I missed that point.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. It's not so much that we want to, well, if you think about how you can fit in, and just we use the one we use a lot around the office a lot, something like injury attorney Phoenix. It's very difficult to weave that keyword into an article. You think about how many different ways can you use that particular keyword in a sentence, and that's probably a medium bad example, because there are truly bad ones that are just impossible to even write a sentence on. And so really what we're trying to do is we're saying, trying to do good content marketing and creating content that has real end user value while we're writing these very geo-targeted keywords into the content is really not possible. So what we're going to be introducing today is an alternative to that, where you still can get the same focus and benefit for your client with targeting geo-targeted keywords, but also at the same time giving us what we're going to be introducing as topic keywords that our content team can write about, our writers can write about, so that we're able to create compelling, interesting information that isn't so sort of laden with geo-targeted terms.
Yeah, I think that's well put. I mean, the standards are definitely rising. I think that's what everyone should take away from the Penguin update and the previous updates. And as we always like to say, we like to try to be a year ahead of these updates. So we're thinking now about Penguin 2014. And we're really trying to gear our content marketing to be as useful as possible. I mean, if you listen to Matt Cutts, he's saying, if you're going to put content out there, it has to stand on its own and be useful. You know, we've started talking about, is this something you would read? Would you tweet it? And when you see one of those geo-targeted keywords, it just sort of sticks out as, this is not great writing. Maybe it wasn't even written for me. It was more written for a search engine. And whereas in the past that was probably okay, we're hearing loud and clear from Google, it's not anymore. That's just not where our practices need to be to stay on the right side of the line.
And then one of the other areas that we talked about was some reseller feedback in terms of how we built out these programs. So you've talked about needing help with on-site implementation. You've also talked about wanting to integrate on-site updates with programs that we're doing, mostly meaning on-site blogging, so keeping the content fresh. And then ways that we can create more compelling content. So we have a lot of people have asked us, can you do videos, can you do infographics? And these are two things that we want to be talking about today. In order to really put a framework around our thinking and how we want to go to market with these revised plans, we've created a new methodology called REAL SEO. And this is something that we've done, and this infographic here is branded with HubShout, but this is something that we've done with the idea that you can also take this methodology and incorporate it into your marketing, and it'll be in all the sell sheets that we provide. But we think this idea of real SEO is really, serves two purposes. One is that we're trying to sort of draw the line that all the tactics of the past of spinning articles and directory submissions, those things don't work anymore, and they weren't really real. Real SEO is the four things we want to talk about. One is that it always starts with research. You need to basically you need tools to find the keywords and identify the areas of demand that your clients' clients are looking for. And then into those pockets of demand, we want to put end user value. So we want to develop content that has true end user value for those people looking for the keywords of all of your clients. And that end user value is going to be compelling, useful information that may take the form of an article, but we're going to be talking today about infographics and videos and press releases, and we have other ideas that we'll be launching over the next 6 to 12 months of different types of content that we think, again, can add real, true end user value. We're always about analysis and analyzing information. So whether that's at the front end, again, when in the research phase, or it's tracking the results of not only rankings, but traffic, leads, phone calls, anything we can put our hands around that helps demonstrate and analyze the results of the program, we want to be including in these programs. And then finally, launching. And launching really is all about creating this compelling content and then launching it out and onto the web to other websites in a way that generates an audience for that content and also then earns links back to the client's website so that ultimately you can build some domain authority and improve the rankings in the search engines. Like I mentioned earlier, looking back on putting this presentation together, we've really been on the path to these programs for about a year. So some of these things are new that we're going to be talking about today, but some of them are ones that we've announced over the past 6 to 9 months, really, of things that we've built as we've headed towards this new way of our real SEO approach. Again, on the research side, we've had the keyword selection tool as part of the research tab. You've already been able to select target keywords there. We recently introduced the keyword mapping and deep linking service, so now you can go in and take a keyword and actually select the page that should benefit or the page that should benefit that you want to rank on that particular keyword. 2 new things that we're going to be introducing today are our topic keyword finder and also our keyword cut score metrics service. So from the topic keyword finder service is going to help you with, again, the topic keywords for all the content we'll be creating. I'll have some demonstrations on this in a minute. In terms of the keyword cut score, this is to help sort of retire the appropriate for results methodology that we've been using and trying to help people find keywords that are appropriate for plans. And in its place, we're going to be introducing a new way of selecting keywords and determining how competitive they are and whether they are appropriate for the plan that you're selecting. And all these things we'll dive into a little bit later. On the end user value side of things, we've already built out an editor and a research team that both can help edit content that we're creating as well as find facts to make the articles then more compelling. We've brought all of our writers, most of our writers, I should say, in-house, and we have a picture of our new space in our office where the writers are able to collaborate together. We have an image library that we rolled out so that when we do create content, we're able to put relevant photos to make them more compelling. And we talk about the idea of tuning your content. And tuning content is not only tuning it for the search engines by adding title tags and making sure that you have H1s and there's a density of the right keyword in it, but more importantly, it's tuning it so that someone who does land on that content is going to stay and read it. And we think that if we focus on that, then again, we're doing real SEO. If we focus on putting useful, compelling images in a blog post or a content article that we create, that makes it more relevant and useful to the person who finds it. Co-citation is something that we, again, rolled out as part of our research and editor team. 4 new things that we're going to be talking about today are that we're relaunching our premium writer team. So we've rethought how we want to position this, and we really want to make this a career path for our writing team so that they can not only they can come in and work their way up the ladder at HubShout, but also in doing that create even better content for you and your clients. We're introducing infographics. We've actually hired a graphic design team, and we have some concepts here in terms of the infographics that we're going to be creating. Videos, same thing. We're going to be introducing a video into most of the SEO plans that we have. And then press releases. Prior to today, that was an add-on service. Had a lot of feedback on what people were really looking for with press releases. So we've revamped that and we're able to now include that in many of the SEO packages as well. On the analysis side, we've enhanced the on-site reports. We've built in on-site implementation features, and we actually have a team that can handle that. We also have done more integration with local and providing a local SEO service. And then finally, these are some lab ideas, but we're starting to really look at how can we provide data back to your end customer about when their content is syndicated out on the web, what kind of impressions are they getting? We're giving some information about the websites where that's going further than just what is in the renamed syndication tab that used to be called the submissions tab. And then finally,
can I interrupt you there? I got a few questions just before you get too far into this. Back on the research side, there's a lot of questions coming in from the audience about this geo-targeted keyword piece again, and I think we should readdress this. If I can summarize, and there's probably been 8 or 10 of these questions in the blog form here so far, saying, can I not target geo-targeted keywords anymore? And so there may be the misperception that we're saying you can't want to or desire to rank on those, which is not what we're saying. So a lot of people are saying, well, small businesses, that's their livelihood. It's more, and maybe I'd let you articulate this a bit, how you go about what used to be link building on geo-targeted keywords and what now needs to be higher quality content marketing.
Right. I think the simplest example, and the one that I have in here that we'll get to in a minute, is if you want to rank on the term Orlando Social Security lawyer, okay, it sticks out like a sore thumb when you're looking at an article where the term Orlando Social Security lawyer is embedded in the content 3 or 4 times. It just reeks of this was written for search engines, not for an audience. And so what we're trying to move towards is that will still be the target keyword, okay, and that will be referenced in the article once, either in the byline or in the sort of last sentence of the article. But that what we'll have is we'll have topic keywords that are associated or closely associated with that keyword. So for example, it might be tips for selecting a Social Security lawyer or just Social Security lawyer. And so then we can actually write a piece of content about something that's more useful to a wider group of people that doesn't, again, sort of indicate that this was written for search engines. It was written for a real audience. So you're basically going, I think this is what a lot of people have asked for. They want the ability to have more useful, compelling content that we would all be willing to tweet or promote in other ways. But if it's packed with a bunch of keywords that make it look like it's written for the search engines, it's going to sort of fail the long-term test of what things like Panda and Penguin are trying to do. And Adam, I don't know if you want to take that any further.
No, I think that's probably good. I think we're saying it's okay to still want to rank on those terms, and we want to help you do that. I mean, they're great sources of traffic. It's the tactics that you use, and that's where the standard has been raised. So those can still very much be business objectives to be found on that very relevant term for your small business customer. But the way you might have gone about trying to make that happen, syndicate, create buzz, acquire backlinks, get social signals, is now different. And so that's what we're going to walk you through. So don't panic. We're not saying you can't have that as your objective. It's just going to be a little different how you get there.
Right. So let's keep going through the list here. So we do, again, we've really made a focus for the last year of working on more relevant sites where we can publish content, trying to keep them as category specific as possible. We've done things like Twitter integration so that there's another way to help promote and syndicate the content that we're creating on your client's behalf. We're introducing a couple new things. We're introducing the idea of using RSS news feeds, so taking all the content that we're already creating on their behalf and creating news feeds out of that so that there's another way of broadcast that information across the web. And then also with social interaction, we're adding in a new way of doing social bookmarking. We're also looking at some ideas with how we can incorporate blog sort of interaction and the ways that we can incorporate that as well. So let's keep going here. I do want to double back on that content is king, and it's really key to the future. When Adam and I talk about ideas we have for where we can take SEO into the future, and again, thinking out a year, all of them really depend on having great content. And so that everyone would be willing to say, here's the content that we're creating on your behalf, and have your clients and you fully willing to promote that content, like it was something something they would put on their website. And so that's really the key here. And so again, we want to sort of talk about this. So I've got a picture here of our new space. We doubled the size of our office space in Rochester. We were able to bring our content team in-house. And a couple things here that I wanted to make sure we talked about. One is that we're running a training series where twice a month we pull the whole writing team together to do different training sessions. We had, for example, a training sessions on how to write a catchy title and using humor as a tool. We're also going to be bringing in local writers and reporters that we're actually paying to have them come in and guest speak to our writing team to help them think about different ways to write better content. So these are things that we really think are critical, and again, we wanted to make sure that you saw some of the changes that we're making here. Okay, so on to the plans. And now before I show the plans, and everyone's like, okay, show me the plans. But before we show the plans, I just wanted to talk about the time frame and how this is going to work. So here we are today. We're announcing the plans. What we're going to be doing is on 6/14, the new plans will be available in the dashboard. So really about 2 weeks from now, you'll be able to start signing SOWs for the new programs. Now, what will happen is that on 7/1, we'll basically stop letting you sign SOWs for the old plans. So there is a period of time we realize that many of you probably have deals out there right now. You have our proposals out there right now. You also have to retrain sales teams and whatnot. So we wanted to make sure there was plenty of runway for you to review these plans, understand them, and then make sure that by 7/1 you know that you can no longer sign SOWs on the old plans. Now, one final point there, because I know this will come up. So what that also means is that any active SOW today, and really up through 7/1, and what I mean by this is that it should be actually up through 6/30, anybody who signed an old plan will be grandfathered into that. Okay, so no worries if you have somebody out there today on a plan. You don't have to move them over to the new plan. You can grandfather them into the old one. Okay, so let's talk about the plans. What we've done here, and actually there's we've got 5 plans shown here. There's actually a 6th plan that will be sort of an enterprise plan, but for the purposes of today, I'm going to walk through these. So basically, the SEO plan for a national, for a non-local client, because we have some local SEO plans as well, but for a non-local client, the basic plan will be $399. Now, what you see here is we're doing a lot more upfront on-site optimization, reporting, and implementation. So we're actually going to currently today for, I think, our basic plan, we do a 1-page report. We're going to be doing a 10-page report for on-site optimization. We're also going to be including our web dev team to actually implement that 10-page report, and they'll be able to do that for an HTML website, for a WordPress website. I think if there's some really crazy, funky CMS out there, we'll have to review it, but our team's very capable, and we're pretty confident they can implement these on most every service out there. We're also going to be rewriting 2 pages of web content. So if you have a website and there's 2 pages that need to be rewritten, we'll include that in the basic plan. And you can see how kind of that rolls up as we go to intermediate, standard, advanced, and professional. Some of the other things we're bundling in.
These are wholesale prices here. There are a lot of questions and confusion about that. Are you showing retail or wholesale?
Yep, wholesale prices. So website copy edits. I'm sorry, a few other things here. We will also be doing Google Plus authorship implementation, schema.org recommendations and implementation. We will be doing a web to lead setup if you'd like us to. And then the other thing we're doing is we're going to include a $10 credit for phone tracking. So basically this would cover, we looked at all of the bills for phone tracking, and this would cover probably 70% of the clients out there are using less than $10 a month in phone tracking. So you'll get at least a number, which is $1 for a local number, $2 for a toll-free number, and then up to $10 credit for the minutes that you use. So if you go over, if you have $15 of phone tracking charges, we're going to knock $10 off. You'll only pay $5. If you're under 10, you'll pay 0. And if you're under 10, you don't actually get the $10 back. It's a use it or lose it.
Hey, Chad, you're doing a great job of really scaring everybody, because there's consensus of the 100 people on this meeting that we've doubled our prices. So could you please address that?
Yeah. So as we go, So I think so the idea here is that I think most people that are using us today, I can jump ahead and talk about local plans, because this is probably where people are maybe not quite as, this is more maybe what the people who are on a $199 plan today. The local plan's entry price point will be $249. Really, what we're saying back on the national. I think that will be comforting for people, because they're looking to map the current kind of spread, and I think you need to explain what happened on the non-local plans. Yeah. We looked at the non-local plans, and we said that for most of the national keywords that we were looking at, that the days of a $199 product being effective it wasn't there. Now, still on the local side, we know that many people don't have that kind of budget, but we did break that out and said that the opening price point on a sort of national SEO program is going to be $399, and the opening price point on the local product will be $249. So would it be better, Adam, you think, is the consensus that I should go through the local plans first and then go back to the other? I think that'd be better, just so people can map the current cheapest plan and understand what, where they're seeing costs and what that is bringing to them in terms of value, and then go over to the national plans and work through, just because that scared them a bit. Okay, all right, that's fair enough. Okay, so let's start with the local plans. What we looked at, again, was that we had a lot of people signing up for the local SEO product for $99, and we just weren't seeing our intention had always been that would be an add-on to what we called our starter program. So it would be $199 for the starter and $99 for the local for $298. We did not, it was not something that was our recommendation. A lot of people said, well, hey, I just want the local service. You'll claim my Google local listings. Great. The issue we had with that is that the effectiveness, as we thought, wasn't there. And so what we wanted to do is to go back and bundle those two services together so that we could offer both a sort of core domain authority building program along with the local component. So same idea here as what we looked at before. We now have 4 plans: Starter L, Basic L, Intermediate L, and Standard L. L stands for local. Starting at $249, we're doing 5 pages of on-site optimization suggestions and then implementation. We will edit 1 page of copy. Still have the $10 phone credit. When you look at the local section of these, and when we present this, pricing will be on the website, so you'll be able to scroll down and see this all together. But I had to make it into some different slides into each section. So then, as part of the local part of the Starter L plan and on up, is that you'll get a name address. I'm sorry, that should be a P, but NAP syndication for where we submit your name, address, and phone number to a syndication service. We use Express Update USA, which feeds into Info USA, which then feeds out to a lot of the second and third tier local directories. We'll also do a manual claim of Google+, Yahoo Local, Bing Local. We'll also do, for the starter plan, we'll do it doesn't include an ongoing video, but we're going to do 1 video in the first month that will be a part of the Google+ profile that we can publish out there. And then what we have as you move up the services is that we add in claiming Yelp. And the Yelp claiming process is a little tricky, but we think we have a handle on how we can do it and still work as your outsourced partner. And then again, once you get into the basic and up, it already includes a video, which we'll talk about in 1 second, each month. So the starter gets 1 video the first month. The other ones will move up from there. Okay, so then we get into the recurring parts of the program, which is, I think, what probably everyone wants to see here. So for the starter program,
there have been many questions about whether these programs include any link building or content syndication. So I've had 20 questions on that, guys. Yes, thank you. You did jump the gun. He's about to go through that. Everyone, just relax. These are good.
Yeah. Okay, good. So then, in addition, like I said, just the way the slides work is I'm kind of having to go page by page. But this is the third page of scrolling down through the different sections of the pricing. But you will get, so the $249 plan, Starter L, doesn't have an on-site blog. You get 2 articles, and then from the syndication side of things, you get 2 of those articles syndicated, 6 RSS syndications, 8 social sharings, and I have some slides on this in a minute to explain these better. 16 Twitter shares. We have the blog engagement, and then we'll still build 2 business citations each month where we take your name, address, phone number, and publish those out to build NAP citations. And then as you move up the plan, you can see we start to add in different content types. So you go to basic, you get an on-site blog built in, you get 3 articles, you get a video every month, and you can look at the syndication down below. And then again, as you move up, so standard, for example, would have 2 on-site blogs, 8 articles, a press release, a video, an infographic. We'd have, then 10 articles syndicated, 30 RSS feeds built, 40 social shares, 80 Twitter shares, 20 blog engagements, and then you can see again that we have 1 business interview, 3 press release syndications using that 1 press release, 3 video syndications using the video we created, 3 infographics, and 2 citations. Now I want to emphasize one thing that we found in our competitive research is that many of the people in the industry, when they talk about, when you look at the actual unique content being created on a monthly basis, it's a little unclear how to make sure it's truly unique. So I want to make sure it's very clear that everything we do, when we talk about a press release or a video or an article, it's unique every month. So we don't take the 8 articles we do on the high-end plan and use those month after month, or make 1 article and take 1 article and post it in 8 places. Those are 8 unique pieces of content using the topic keywords in the plan. Any questions on this, Adam?
Yeah, I think there are a lot of people focusing in just on the dollar values, which we understand is very natural. We kind of knew it would happen. And other than presenting the first slide that showed the bottom plan dropping, which may have given the false impression that everything doubled, which again I want to emphasize is not happening here. I think what Chad's talking about now, when you start to strip away the window dressing and look at actual unique content and the effort going into it and the things we can do to syndicate, create buzz about that, just want to emphasize we've spent 6 months doing extensive market research on this, and we're pretty convinced that this is the right package, not only for Penguin this year, but for future updates and effectiveness. So bear with us. I understand the sticker shock on the dollar side, but it's not as bad as it looks. And when you start to get into what's really included, and you look at what else you can get for those dollars when you go somewhere else, we're feeling very confident that these are excellent value plans.
Okay, so let me go back to the other plans then really fast so we can go back to them. So again, on the local plans, the primary difference is that you're trading off a little bit of content to get the local. And the other thing I want to mention is that there are, again, benchmarking this, we played around with the idea of this setup idea that the first month would be more on-site implementation and claiming local listings. But we've always thought that we want to get content marketing going as quickly as possible. So I want to make sure everyone also realizes that when we talk about these initial startup costs, we're going to also be doing the recurring stuff right as we start the program. So again, I think if you go benchmark this against a lot of other people in the industry who have these multiple, at least 1, in some cases more than 1 month of startup, we're going to be out of the gate a lot faster with these programs. And again, as Adam said, we think that we're doing this for effectiveness purposes. We want to make sure that we really want this to be these programs that people can see the results and stick with us over the long run. Okay, so talking a bit about the the other plans, the national plans. So the basic plan is $3.99. We already talked about this first page. So let me go ahead and go to the second page. And now we're right into the syndication side of things. So similar idea. As you move up, you get more on-site blogging, more articles, and then we add in some of these additional content types. So you can see here that when you move up to the standard program, you're getting 2 on-site blogs, 9 articles, and I should mention, this is mentioned on the next page, but on the on-site blogs, those will always be written by our premium writing team. So the idea here is that we know that people have they're watching very closely what goes on their website. We understand that, and we want to rise to that challenge and create great content that they can put on their website and feel that you and your client can put on their website and feel good about it. So we know that no matter what, you always will have the premium writing team on your on-site blog content. We have some other options here in a minute if you want, depending on what level of service you want for your articles that we'll talk about. But so 9 articles, 1 press release, 1 video, 1 infographic, and then the syndication side of that is that you turn that into 11 article syndications, 33 RSS, and you can kind of see as we move down the list there. Any questions, Adam? I'm sure there's lots of questions, but anything that's confusing anyone right now that's flashing up there?
I'm typing as fast as my fingers can go, but I can't keep up with the list. But there are several questions about the grandfathering, again, concerns about people who are on existing plans, what happens to them. So I'd like you to hit that again, and still confusion about mapping the old plans to the new plans and trying to follow that logic to see just exactly what the price changes are. So can you hit both the grandfathering and like how do I know the old plan was this, the new plan is what?
Right. The names, so I'll take the second one first. The names we kept the names the same just to avoid confusion. So you can see that on the national side, we did drop the starter program. So if you look at the other ones, basic, intermediate, standard, advanced, professional, that's they pretty much map out roughly. Now the prices aren't always the same, but you can that's roughly how they map out. And then what we mostly did is there's a little bit of trading. So we were trading some effort that we were putting more effort into the on-site and the on-site blogging especially, and we were a little bit out of the just sheer number of articles that we were creating. And the idea of that is that that's going to free us up to again create this more compelling content and do real SEO. That's the goal. And I should mention one other thing, which is really an exception, but I know there have been some questions about, well, what if I'm doing an awesome job at creating on-site content for my client and helping them create great blog posts? Do I lose that on-site blog? And what we're planning on doing there is we will need to do a review because again we're in this with you guys because we want to create an effective program for your end client. But we'll have a discussion with you, and if it's the case that yeah you've got that totally under control, we will let you opt whatever on-site content is earmarked into content that can be syndicated and published out on the web.
Yeah, thank you.
Second question was grandfathering.
Quite a bit on that about if we are doing a good job with on-site, how do we not lose that work? So I just want to reiterate what Chad said. If you can show the website's being updated at least twice a month, and we're convinced that's happening, and we're taking a little bit of a harder position there than we used to because that's really critical for effectiveness now. If that is happening and you're doing a good job of that, we will redirect that blog post to an offsite syndication point to try to get some buzz about it.
Right. The second question was grandfathering. So again, the roll-up plan is we're announcing these today. Our plan is to get this content, at least the pricing, on the website tomorrow so that people can really see that here on the website. We're targeting around the 14th, so early June, that you'll be able to go into the dashboard and actually sign SOWs on the new plans. There's some extra development in our webinar that we're planning for June 13th. We will be, so it's 2 weeks from now, we'll be back walking you through specifically how to sign up for these plans on the web or in the dashboard so that you understand how some of these new features I talked about, especially the cut scores, work, to make sure everyone's pretty comfortable with that. So then you'll start being able to sign SOWs on the 14th. Then what our plan is then that you'll be able to sign either one really between the 14th and the 30th of June. And then on July 1st, when we come in, the old plans will no longer be available to sign SOWs on. Okay, so that's, and then I guess the other part is grandfathering anyone who prior to June 30th signs an SOW for a current program, one of the old plans, the plans that we all know today, or prior to today. Those will stay in force as long as you want. So anyone who's in force prior to June 30th with an SOW on an old plan can just stay on that plan as long as they'd like. Now, we'd like to think that some people would look at the new plans and say, well, wow, there's great value there, and I want that. I want some of those features in for my clients because I'm having trouble with on-site content or I'm not doing it today. And so we'd like to see we believe there'll be people who will convert from the old plan to some of the old plans to new plans, and that's fine as well. Okay, so let me talk about cut scores for a minute. And we have not a whole lot of time, so I'm probably not going to get through all my slides today, but I want to talk about a few of these concepts. So cut scores, what we're going to be doing is when you go in and you're in the proposal tool, we currently are showing you searches and CPC. We're going to be actually multiplying those two things together to create keyword points. And then we're going to be setting available points to help you select keywords that are appropriate for your plan. So again, this is going to be a guidance thing. So, and this is just for illustrative purposes, but in this case, in the upper right-hand corner, I'd say there's 5,000 points available, and then you can see that I can pick keywords, and as I pick keywords, the available points bucket will decrease. And the idea is that if you're picking a high-volume keyword that's competitive, meaning that it's fairly expensive from a CPC standpoint, there's probably a lot of competition on that, and that's going to maybe that uses a big chunk of your available points. So this will help you pick some competitive and less competitive keywords, or at least a bucket of keywords that are appropriate for the plan you have. And as you can imagine, as you move up in the plans, your available points that are appropriate for that plan will go up as well. Keyword mapping, this is something we already launched, but the idea here is that you're able to match the page on the website to the keywords that you're trying to target. So if you're not using this today, this is already in the site, give us a call. We can definitely talk to you more about this. Top keywords. What you're going to see when we launch the program is that on the keyword tab under campaign details, there will be a new table below your target keywords, and that's going to be your topic keywords. And what you're going to do here is you're going to be able to feed in keyword ideas, probably from your target keywords. So for example, this would be, your keyword might be Veterans Lawyers Orlando. So you can feed that keyword in, and we'll feed you back some potential keywords you might want to consider as topic keywords. You'll be able to pick those and build a table. And you're going to have the ability to either pick to have that topic keyword be a topic keyword for on-site content or for off-site content, or both. And then the table will basically, those topic keywords will get fed into our writing team. So again, this is going back to how do I manage my geo-targeted keywords? Geo-targeted keywords are still fine to be the target keyword, but what we're going to want is we're going to want a topic keyword that maybe isn't geo-targeted that's relevant though, right? So if you take Orlando Veterans Lawyer, a relevant topic keyword might be Veterans Lawyer or selecting a Veterans Lawyer. So you're going to have a piece of content on that topic, and then inside that article, either again somewhere at the end or the beginning, or potentially in the middle, if it's a relevant enough keyword, you're going to have your target link that you're going to want, and it'll use all of the other anchor text ratios and stuff that we've already built into the system. Onsite implementation. We're really excited about this because what we're going to do is we're going to use our website development service, and what's going to happen though is that our analyst is going to fill out a PRQ for you, and then you're going to have the ability to come in and look at that PRQ and review it. And if it looks like all the changes that you want to make to the website, you can hit the sign off on the PRQ. That goes into our web dev team, and then they can go actually make the changes to your website, assuming you've given us the password, username, and password to get in and make the changes. But that's going to be a really nice feature. Now, if you don't want us to implement the changes, or you can't, you don't have the access to it, you can take the information that's in the PRQ and you can send that off to whoever can make the changes. But ideally, you're using us for that service. Premium writing team. Again, this is something we're really excited about because I said earlier, it provides a promotion path for our current content team. It's criteria driven, meaning that they know that they have to have a very good reliability score and a very good quality score in order to become a premium writer. But additionally, what the team's going to get is they're going to get more time to spend on each article or blog, and they're going to get more frequent editorial review and coaching. They're going to handle all the on-site content, and there will be an upgrade option to have them write your other content. Here are the options. If you want to use the premium writing group for all of your content, then it's $15 per article to upgrade to the premium writing team. Additionally, we have a premium site placement option where we'll make our best effort to get your content on a category relevant website for $10 an article. And so basically we're looking at the article count that's in the plan, and then that's how we determine the total for those upgrade options. Infographics. So again, I'm moving pretty fast here, but the infographics, we've got 3 examples here of some really cool infographics we've done. The really nice thing about this is we actually have been able to use the writer facts that we've already been creating on your clients' accounts, and then instead of feeding those to the writer, we can hand them off to our graphic design team, and they've been able to actually create these really nice-looking blog insertable infographics. And then what we're going to be doing is giving you the option to say, do you want us to put your client's logo on the infographic, or do you want to make it unbranded? So that'll become a campaign details setting that you'll have, and you'll be able to turn that on or off. Press releases. A couple really interesting things about press releases. There was recently an article in search engine land about how even though Matt Cutts and Google has said that press releases don't help you from an SEO standpoint, there was an interesting test that someone did where they were able to get Matt Cutts' own website to rank only by using press releases. So that's kind of interesting because some people might say, well, hey, press releases are dead. What we want to say is they're not. And the other thing that's really great about press releases is that they are very good for getting branded mentions of your customers. So back to that diversity thing, I mentioned press releases were good from a diversity standpoint and getting branded mentions. We want to add those into the plans that had a press release as an option in it. Videos. Again, what our plan here is that we actually have these writer facts. We can take the writer facts and actually make videos out of them. So we have lots of great little stats, and we have, I think, 40 million or so images that we have access to as part of the deal that we have with an image company. And we can actually take the images and take the facts and create little videos that are then shareable and that we can also syndicate out on your client's behalf. So we think these are going to be really cool, and it's another great way of expanding the type of content that you're doing with content marketing. Now, I mentioned syndication. We're changing the name of the submissions tab to syndication because that's really what we're doing now. I mentioned a couple of the new types of syndication we're doing. We're doing RSS. We've already been doing Twitter shares, but the thing we really want to do is we're going to give you the ability to plug in your client or your Twitter account on their campaign and then have them share as well the content that's going out. So again, we've got a very high standard for ourselves that we want to be able to get to that point where your clients are totally comfortable sharing everything that we do on their behalf, but we're going to have that option for you when we get there. Social bookmarking sites, we were kind of revamping this a little bit, a different set and feel to those sites, but we'll be continuing to be doing social bookmarking. And then blog engagement, again, the idea here is find relevant articles and content out there that we can contribute to the community on or contribute to the discussion thread on with your client. Okay, one final feature that I wanted to talk about is, and we're basically out of time here, but the featured article is a new content type that rather than writing about your client's keywords, what we're going to do is we're going to look at the publication where the content is going and think about an article or information that would be very relevant to that site. So again, in category relevant, but a little more focused on their angle, with the idea being that we can get a featured placement on the homepage with it. And then the other idea is that it's more likely to rank, because if you get your website, if you get that piece of content related to a topic that website's already talking about, then the likelihood of that content ranking on that site and, again, being more authoritative there is higher, which we think having a link on that page back to your client's website would be very useful. So this is a new content type that we'll be talking a little bit more about that will be sort of an add-on, so you can add a featured article on top of any of the other programs. That's the end of the presentation that I have. So again, I know this is a lot of information. It's being recorded. We will get this up on our website as soon as possible, and then as I mentioned, we will be putting the website, the pricing on the website as early as tomorrow.
Great, thanks, Chad. And I know there's general resistance to wanting to change things, and the numbers are changing, but I think going back to the beginning of your presentation, none of us really want to be changing a lot, but the rules of the game are changing. Google's changing the rules, and we have to evolve. We've seen this in every year previous. We've always done a good job of staying at least a year ahead of where Google says you need to be, and this is our next best effort to do so. So bear with us. We appreciate your feedback, want your questions, and we look forward to working through this with you.
Thanks a lot.